Hey, greetings everyone, and welcome back to episode 7 of Plan B Success, the podcast. Keeping with our theme of what we have been discussing over the last several episodes, today we're going to focus on sales, marketing, and client management and how they are influenced, the art side of it and the science side of it, and how that influences these specific functions. That's what we're going to discuss today. Now, sales and marketing, I'm sure all of us know, in some cases, these two terms are used interchangeably. They kind of go hand in hand, but marketing is where you're trying to create a brand for your company, your product, your solution, whatever you're trying to put out there. You're trying to get it into people's minds, people's heads, and you're trying to keep that in some fashion cohesive and singular so that as time passes by, it creates its own identity and then starts developing on top of that. You could be doing that through several different means, branding as a logo, branding as a sonic brand, with all the material that you produce, with all the giveaways, all the material that you hand over to your clients, your colors, your themes, your documentation, your paper, your print, whatever you're trying to do. Marketing is surrounding all of that in order to ensure that you stretch and get the most mileage for your brand over a period of time. Sales, on the other hand, is pretty granular or pretty raw in terms of what you're trying to sell out there in terms of a product or a solution that you have, and basically exchange it for what you need. You have a product or a solution, you get it out into your customers' hands, and then you expect them to pay for it. That's generally sales in a nutshell. Now, in some instances, in smaller companies, you'll see that sales and marketing are interchangeably used. And in some larger organizations or mid-sized organizations, they're kept separate and they all have their own roles to play. However, all of them, sales, marketing, client management, operations, whichever department it is, they all need to work hand in hand and closely coordinate with each other in order to ensure that one single picture, one single frame is being projected out at the world in terms of what that organization is all about, what their products and solutions are all about, and how they interact with their clientele. Now, all these other departments we just talked about, or all these other functions we talked about in terms of operations, professional services, etc., we'll discuss that at a later point in time. But let's just focus on sales, marketing, and client management for now. Now, client management or client relationship management or account management, whatever the term you use, that's basically trying to provide a white glove service to your clients, taking care of your clients right from when you're trying to sell them, when they're still a prospect, after you've sold. The journey of the customer begins right there. From the time you've sold them something, all the way through implementation, through the actual delivery of what you're providing them, then managing them through the usage of that product or service, all the way till they are your customer. Sometimes that's a pretty long journey in terms of customers that are very loyal to your products and services. Sometimes it's a shorter journey, but irrespective of what it is, it's important to ensure that you provide real quality, high grade service to your clients. What do you think makes someone a great salesperson, a great marketing professional, or a passionate client management professional? When you look at any of these roles, or when you look at what makes someone great at these roles, there are a couple of things we need to consider. First, a person needs to have aptitude to truly enjoy the responsibility of any of these functions. That's a given. You need to have that aptitude to be able to enjoy the role, to be able to be accountable and hold responsibility for these roles. And generally, when I say aptitude, what that means is having a blend of an upbeat attitude, the charisma that goes with these roles, and then the innate traits that go with being able to convince somebody or having those superior negotiation skills. All of that goes a long way in being successful in these roles. Now, certain traits are a part of the personality of the person, and other skills can be attained or rather fine-tuned through training that's given to people. So there are some innate qualities, and then there's some fine tuning needed in terms of training in order to be really successful at these roles. Now, when we look at hiring any sales, marketing, or account management professionals, the general trend has been that future performance in sales, marketing, or client management is judged based on past performance. You look at how did they do previously in their career? How much did they sell? Did they meet their quotas? What kind of solutions did they sell? Who were their contacts? Where do they have their contacts? What kind of a network have they developed? This is what's generally seen in sales. In client management too, it's seen as to who do they know? What kind of relationships do they have? What kind of relationships did they maintain with their clientele? How did they manage past performance with their clients? That's what's seen. But although considered a predictable factor, this future performance based on past performance, there's only so much that you can rely on it. There's only so much reliability that you can attribute to past performance. Now, coming back to what we were talking about, sales, marketing, and client management, there's an art side to it and there's a science side to it. Now, all the attributes, the charisma, the innate traits that I talked about, a lot of that has to do with the art of sales, marketing, or client management. Being really skilled in these areas is based on the attitude of the person who's in the role, the aptitude they have, the passion they have to grow, to master, to do well in their role, and also the personality traits. Some people are natural salesmen, some are not, some learn over a period of time. So there's the aspect of personality based traits, and there's also the learned skills that go hand in hand in order to define the art of sales, marketing, and client management. When you consider using the art side of sales, marketing, or client management, many of the decisions that the people in these roles make or act upon are based on their gut feelings or their gut reactions. If they feel that the negotiation they're having with a prospect is going in the right direction, they continue with it. Now, no two people sell the same way. No two people manage a client the same way. It's all based on their personality factors, how they talk, how they walk, how do they develop relationships with the prospects, how do they maintain it. Some people can be very formal. Some people like to do it in an informal setting. Some people probably close better over dinner or drinks. It all depends on the person who's in that role. So a lot of it has to do with the gut reactions of these people when they're actually interacting with either a prospect or a client. And the end results rely very much on these personality traits of the people that are in these roles and the learned skills that they acquire over a period of time to help them drive closure. However, when we come to the science side of it, this is where you see an impact of the industry the particular client is in. What's going on in that industry? What kind of solution or product knowledge does the sales, marketing, or the client management personnel have? What kind of solution or product knowledge do they have? What kind of technical prowess have they acquired over a period of time? How savvy are they in talking technology? Do they understand the competitive landscape that the client is in? What's going on in the industry? What's going on with the competition? What are the market dynamics that are at play that could influence that particular industry or that particular organization one way or the other? All of these data points comprise the science side of it. Nowadays, when we talk about machine learning, deep learning, analytics, this is what it's all about, the data. In today's world, data plays such an important role in not just decision making, but fact-based decision making. It's not a gut feeling at this point. It's basically looking at the data and deciphering the facts from the data at hand and then ensuring that your decision making relies on that data in order to make the right decisions at the right time. Now, efforts are made to understand and simulate client needs. The best way to manage a client or the best way to retain a client is to understand the client and their needs better than the client knows it. Now, a client is engaged in their day to day business. They're totally focused on sustenance of their business, growth of their business, and doing what it takes to keep their business chugging along smoothly. But as a service provider, it's up to you, the sales, marketing, or the client relations professional, to know more about your client, to more about the industry, to know more about what your client is doing than your client knows themselves. In fact, understand your client's business and their needs so deeply that you're able to simulate such needs, and in many a case even before the client themselves knows of their needs, and then come back to them with solutions and products that would help them fulfill such needs. That's where the science of marketing comes into play. By looking at all the data points, you ensure that you filter out the information that you need from these data points, and then you use that information to educate your clients about these unforeseen needs that your client has, and then propose solutions that you can bring to the table to fulfill such needs. That's how you sell, upsell, and retain your clients. Now, the science of it all helps differentiate impactful marketing, trusty and inspired relationships with prospects as well as clients, and helps further build on the pure transparency of these relationships that you would have with your clients as true partners engaging in solving the same problems, not as two counterintuitive entities playing the roles of a buyer and a seller, where the relationship is based on individual and organizational interests. And individual interests meaning the interest of the seller, the interest of the buyer, and the organizational interest being that of the buyer and the seller again, and probably their revenue plans, the goals that they need to hit, all of that. When all of that starts playing a part in the relationship dynamics between a solution provider and a client, then there's no transparency in that relationship. One is trying to push solutions, the other is trying to keep away from spending too much and trying to figure out how do I survive and how do I continue down the path that I am at. But when they are actually working together as true partners to solve common problems to the benefit of both, when they come together, keeping everything aside, and just from the aspect of saying, how do I take my client from where they are to the next level? And then the client relying on you as a loyal partner and trusting you to bring the right market knowledge and the right solutions so that they can move ahead in their trajectory of growth, then that's a true partnership relationship. And that's how the relation should be defined, and that's how the relation should be between a prospect or a client and a vendor or a solution provider. Now, in this later scenario that I just talked about, the true partnership, there's true cross-pollination of ideas between both the parties. And there's true experimentation of new solutions as true partners. As a result, both benefit. The client or the organization moves forward on their trajectory of growth, and they're willing to invest in the new solutions that you bring to the table. And as a result, you gain and keep the client for a longer term, and you continue to benefit from the relationship as well as a solution provider. Now, to conclude, in summary, an understanding of these market dynamics, the competitive landscape, true customer needs, the product and solution specifics in relation to solving the customer's needs go a very long way in being able to close deals for mutual benefit and maintaining that long-term referenceable clients as true partners that mutually thrive. Now, this knowledge differentiates true sales, marketing, and client management professionals as trusted partners from those that rely purely on the art of it. It also has a very profound impact on industry as well as organizational acceleration in their respective realms of pursuit and immensely influences their success. If you like what you hear, please be sure to subscribe. And if any of this information helps you, please make sure that you share it with others so they might benefit as well. If you'd like to know more about me, please visit www.rajeevmudumba.com And for more episodes like this, please make sure you visit Plan B Success. Thank you.